What is up, everyone? Welcome to How to Draw Feeties, the foot. Head over to the website and grab the free worksheet and print that out. You guys know the drill by now. The free worksheet is what we'll be using through the tutorial. You have to get hands-on practice to learn anything, and this is a great way to do it. So grab the free worksheet, print it out. If you're working digitally, pull that into whatever software you are using. Starting on page 1, we're practicing the middle section of the foot, which is made up of a flat box and a tent-like shape, right? So at the top, you can see how I've broken down this shape. You can see the foot at the top, like at the top, you can see all the sections, but right below that, you can see the box shape with the tent on top, right? The foot is quite complex in its shape, so this is as simple as we can go while still capturing what the anatomy is like, right? If I simplified it any further, it would not look like a foot at all, so we're going to simplify down to this and practice this. I know this is fairly complex, and if you need practice with the basic forms, I also have a tutorial and a worksheet on the basic forms. If this feels too difficult, skip this tutorial for now, come back to this, and then go and do the basic forms tutorial. I'll make sure to link that in the description, because you need to know how to draw basic three-dimensional forms in space before you draw these, because the foot is quite complex and there's just no way around it, right? This is as far as I can simplify it down, as this is as simple as I can make it. So copy from these examples, pay attention to how the tent shape is taller towards one side, right? And the one side is towards the center of the body or the inner side of the foot, right? So if you were looking down at your feet, the inner side will be towards the middle of your body, right? That's what I mean by the inside of the foot. This is where the curve, the arc of the foot is. So come from these examples, try to draw some of these in your sketchbook, because this is a very important shape to get down before moving forward. Don't be shy about using eraser. Like I always say, the whole point of learning something new is to make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything new. So if you make mistakes, feel free to use an eraser. I'll probably use an eraser tons in the examples, as you can see on the screen. It's just part of the process, right? So do this page, and once you're done this, I do recommend practicing your sketchbook and then move on to page number 2. On page number 2, we're adding in the heel of the foot, right? So for the heel, we're adding in a box that's curved at the back side, right? So it's rounded towards the back, but you can basically draw in a box at the back and then round out the back after, right? So you can draw a box as the guideline and round the back side of it, right? So we have a few more examples now because there's more space on the page. Copy from the examples like usual. We're using the same foot shape, the middle section from the last page, so you can see how we're building out this shape, which kind of looks like a sandal, right? Like this shape does look like a sandal when you look at it, and that's a good sign, right? Because that's the basic form of the foot. Copy from the examples. Don't be shy about erasing. This is probably the easiest part. If you got the last page, then this is fairly easy because this shape is kind of basic. It's a box that's rounded, right? And pay attention to the proportions. This box isn't bigger than the middle section. It's close to the same length, but it's smaller. It's a little bit smaller, right? So pay attention to that. And then once you're done this, move on to the next page. Moving on to the third page. I think that's right? I lost count already. The third page, we are adding in the ankle region. So we're just drawing in a sphere for the ankle region. This is as simple as we can make it, right? So you can see at the top right section, I've shown you how the sphere sits right towards the center box, right? So it's above the heel, but it's sitting closer towards the centerpiece that we drew in the first step. So it's not at the outer side of the heel, it's towards the inner side, right? So you can see how it's sitting closer to the middle, because that's the only way it would be balanced. And you want to make sure that there's the box at the back has space, right? So that you can see at the top left example how that circle is sitting towards the middle of where the foot is and not towards the back, right? So make sure to leave some room at the back. Copy from the examples again, and once you're done this, move on to the last page, right? So this is fairly easy. I feel like it's just a sphere. I hope that you've practiced spheres by now. If you haven't, make sure to do the basic forms tutorial before doing this, right? There's no way to learn how to draw in 3D without getting the basic forms done, especially if you want to learn quickly, right? So practicing the basic forms is the easiest and quickest way to learn, right? So do that and then move on to the last page. On the last page, baby, Now let's add in the toes, right? So we have this rounded form. It's kind of like a weird, slightly weird shape, but I think you guys can see how this would fit into the shapes that we've drawn so far. It's longer on one side, right? So where the big toe goes towards the inner side of the foot again, right? So where the inner side of the foot is, where the big toe goes, it's longer, and then it gets smaller towards the end. So you can see that in these examples that, like for example, the top left example that you had to copy from, you can see how it's longer towards the side that we can see, and it gets smaller away from us, right? And on the example below that, you can see how it's shorter towards the side closest to us, and then it gets longer towards the side that's away from us, right? So pay attention to that, and then copy from the examples again. That's the entirety of this tutorial. That's it. You done it. You done good, right? So after you do this page, right, what you gotta do is look up some photo reference and simplify it down, and then slowly move your way towards more specific anatomy, right? So this is as simplified as we can make it. Get comfortable with this simplification first. Use photo reference to see how you can simplify that down, and then over time build up your knowledge towards more specific details of the foot, right? So for example, in this simplified form, I didn't draw the arc of the foot, right? I just left that out. I just drew it flat, because that's not a detail that you need to learn right from the beginning, but that's a detail you can add in over time once you get comfortable with this, right? So it's all the drawing skills that we're learning, right? We're taking stuff from very simple to more complex, and that way you can build up without getting too frustrated. It's the quickest way to learn, right? Because if you think about it in terms of learning math, for example, you learn the most simple equations first before learning the complex ones, because they build on top of each other. And it's the exact same with drawing. And I know some of you guys are like, math, can we not do math analogies while we're drawing? But it's the same concept. Everything works like this, right? Learn the basic foundations, which is the basic forms. I'll link that in the description like I mentioned earlier. Learn the basic forms, make them more complex, and slowly build up towards more detailed and more realistic, depending on where you want to take it. But either way, if you want to draw complex stuff, you have to start with the basics, right? So that's it for this tutorial. Hope this was useful to you. If you like this and you want to stay in touch, get on the mailing list over on the website. You can also subscribe here. And that's it. I also have more free worksheets and drawing courses over on the website that you can check out. And I would love it if you checked out some more of the free stuff that I have, all right? And that's it. See you guys in the next one. Bye.